All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Shady Truth, and I wanted to update you guys on what the president just did. As you know, my page talks a lot about politics, especially because we are in the year of the 2020 elections, which I think is one of the most important elections of our time. Now, everyone know that the COVID virus has come in and totally kind of changed all of our lives. I mean, I was working for like 13 years for a company, and like now I'm unemployed, but it don't matter anyway because I'm living my best life. Now, I wanted to update you on what the president just did. So if you guys been following the news, you know that the Democrats and Republicans have been trying to come up with this deal about how to aid Americans. The $600 extra of federal unemployment has ended about 2 weeks now, and Americans are struggling. So the president decided that he was going to go ahead and put in some executive orders. Now, this still comes back to the states to execute some of these things, but the president has made an executive order for a few things. I want to let you guys know what they are. The first thing is that he cut payroll taxes. So he's given us a payroll tax holiday. What this means is that we're going to be less, for those that are working, will be less taxed on Social Security and Medicare taxes. Now, here's the problem with that. We all pay our Social Security taxes in order to help us when we are retired, right? So that those are the things that contribute to when we tie in and we start getting that Social Security check. So that doesn't necessarily help us at the end of the day. What the president should have did was cut down the percentage on how much we're paying on federal taxes. But because for some of you guys that don't know, most of the time federal taxes is at a 22%. And if you make a significantly high amount, that's a lot of money coming out of your check every week. Okay, so that's what the president should have did. So I'm not really all excited about that payroll taxes, even though I ain't even working, but that's really not all that great. The second thing that he did was he signed an executive order to extend extend where people can no longer get evicted. Mortgage companies cannot put houses in foreclosure if people are not able to pay. So that's a good thing, because people should not be punished for the government's lack of response to this virus. Because as I keep saying, this is also their fault. They should have done better at this. And the Trump administration, the president, should and could lose his presidency because of his response in this virus. And I don't care. It is what it is. It was poor, and we all know it. This could have been better contained. Number 3, he extended federal unemployment benefits to $400 a week. Now, we remember that this was $600 a week. Some Democrats were proposing $200 a week because they felt like the $600 were not enough, were too much, rather, for people to not, and people would not want to go back to work. So that's what that was. And I mean, $400 is great, but there's 25% of this $400 that has to be paid for by the state, which the president insists that the states have the money to do. So really, it's going to be up to the state to decide if they're going to execute that order that the president just gave. We don't know how that's going to go yet. So, I mean, it's great, but I wouldn't get too excited until we see this thing, until we hear our own local governments start talking about what they're going to do with it. But the president has proposed $400 an extra weekly. The next thing is that student loans will remain at a 0% interest rate until the end of the year. So for those of you guys that didn't know, right now, if you take out a student loan, you're at a 0% interest rate. So if you do that, so I guess if you're going back to school or whatever, that benefits you, and all of those things. But unfortunately, the president did not sign into any order about a second stimulus check, which most of us were waiting to hear if he was going to do. He did not. So unfortunately, we'll have to wait to see what Congress comes up with. We'll have to see what Pelosi and her team, whether the left or the right, when they respond to what the president did today about what is going to be the next course of action. Now, we're not sure, but I'll definitely keep you posted. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to The Shady Truth.